Welcome to Behind the Wheel, an audio interview series where you can learn about motor vehicle topics in the state of Maine. Here is your host, Larry Boivin.
We are traveling behind the wheel, and we're traveling behind the wheel with Thea Fickett. Thea is Maine's Medical Review Coordinator for the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. We are talking about functional ability profiles, the manual, the rules, and there are a number of conditions that are part of that manual. How many are there?
Well, the sections that are actually defined in the book are limited. There's 14. However, really and truly there's more than that, because if you look within, for instance, within vision, there's actually a functional ability profile for visual acuity. There's a functional ability profile for peripheral vision. There's also one for double vision. So there's more than that, as well as some conditions that aren't even listed that would be included within what we would expect to review for a person.
And I have to think, as Maine's population is aging, there are a number of folks that may have more than one medical condition that's being reviewed, correct?
Yes, there are many times when that happens. So just as an example, maybe a person has atrial fibrillation, which is a condition that we actually review. Maybe they also have diabetes, and because of their diabetic medications, they have problems with low blood sugar, hypoglycemia. So they might be being reviewed for both of those conditions, or maybe they have a history of a stroke, and they also maybe have a vision disorder or deficit. So there can be multiple conditions that a person's being reviewed for, or a person might only have one condition.
In the course of a year, how many cases would be reviewed by the medical review area?
Sure. So in 2020, we reviewed between 37 and 38,000.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of interaction, I would have to imagine, between customer, physician, clinician, and our medical review staff.
Yes, there's a lot of interaction. So it can be something as simple as a person calling in to say, I turned my form in, did you get it? Is everything okay? To someone who's received a notice of suspension and wants to know what's going on and doesn't understand and needs to have an explanation. We often reach out to doctors' offices because we need more information than what we got on the forms that came in. Or in some cases, they're reaching out to us because they have questions about how to fill out the form. They're not really sure, don't understand the rules completely, and aren't sure how to fill out the form on behalf of one of their patients.
Are the rules available online?
Yes, they are available on the Bureau of Motor Vehicles Medical Requirements website.
And I suspect with conditions evolving and studies that are done, that these rules are looked at on an ongoing basis.
Yes, as far as review for changes and updates, yeah. So we do have our medical advisory board that is actually currently at the moment in the process of reviewing the rules and considering what updates and changes need to be made. And ideally, they would be looked at about probably every 3 to 5 years.
And when was the latest set of rules enacted?
They became effective on December 31st of 2016.
And we're currently looking, as you say, at updating them?
Yes. So the hope or the desire is to have them complete and final by 2023, if everything goes as planned.
So this whole process, and you talked earlier about physicians, clinicians that are involved in our medical advisory board. Who are these people, and where are they in the state of Maine? Do they come from the entire state, or is there one area that they're representing?
No, we have physicians from different parts of the state, and based on our the statute that dictates who needs to be on the board at a minimum, we're required to have at least 8 different specialties that are specified in law. And those physicians that represent those specialties come from different places. We have some from Portland, from Brunswick. We have some from the Bangor area, from Dover Foxcroft. I mean, they come from different places. And as the board membership changes, the locations of the physicians change. Maybe at some points in time, we've had people from Central Maine. So they come from around the state.
You mentioned that when you get this information, it's not a requirement for doctors to report conditions, but I would have to imagine in terms of safety that probably that's the primary driving force to get conditions reported, to make sure folks are safe on the road?
Actually, no. The most frequent source of information for us is drivers reporting their conditions on their applications when they come to get a license for the first time, whether it's a permit or a license, a renewal, a duplicate. If they're changing from one class of license to another, that medical question is on our forms. So they answer that. We become aware that they have a condition. We give them the driver medical evaluation form to take to their physician. The physician fills that out and sends it in to us. So we become aware most often by the driver disclosing their own condition. Second, though, would be clinicians who report because they have concern for their drivers, for their patients, and so that gets turned into us. And there is law within Maine that protects clinicians who report in good faith, even if they report without the permission of the driver. Although we don't mandate that they report, they are allowed to report without the driver's permission, and they are protected by immunity law in the state of Maine.
So as part of the reporting process and the form that would need to be filled out for the medical condition, what happens if I don't do it?
Well, so the Bureau of Motor Vehicles doesn't go tracking people down to try to find out if they've been truthful on their form or not. But on the form itself, it actually does say, I understand that knowingly supplying false information on this form is a Class D crime under Title 17A, punishable by confinement up to 364 days or monetary fine of up to $2,000 or both. So although we don't go tracking people down, there is the potential there for something to come up later. And a good example would be, let's just say if a person gets involved in a crash and there's property damage or hopefully not, but possibly harm to another person or another person's death, then it doesn't really have anything to do with motor vehicles, but in the legal scenario, when that kind of information comes out, it may not bode well for the driver who has failed to disclose their condition. Let's say if a person has a seizure disorder, as an example, and their seizure disorder hasn't been disclosed, and their seizure disorder hasn't been being treated appropriately, or they haven't been following their treatment, if that becomes information that the other party is aware of, it obviously is going to make the liability for the person who caused the crash because of their medical condition to be at higher risk of some kind of negative consequences.
So this medical review process is really intended for the safety of not only the entire driving public, but also for the one that has the medical condition.
I would say yes, for sure. Mm-hmm.
What's the best thing about your job?
Well, I like problem solving, and I have a lot of opportunity to solve problems, and I like education, and I have a lot of opportunity to help people understand, what's involved, why they're being required to do this particular task, which many people aren't excited about. So I have the opportunity to help them understand and feel more comfortable.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Behind the Wheel, a production of the Maine Bureau of Motor Vehicles in collaboration with Secretary of State Shanna Bellows. For more information on a variety of motor vehicle topics, visit our webpage at maine.gov/SOS/BMV.